Hello everybody, welcome back to our Tkinter series. In the last video, we learned how to create a window with a simple button. Now today we're creating a simple login form. This project will introduce you to user input, user input validation, displaying messages, working with label, entry and button widgets. So, I'll show you how it is first. Just open them up, put in your user and password, in this case, admin and password. Log in. Like that. That's wrong apparently. That's all good. Probably typed the password wrong. Look at that, you know it works now. Anyways, let's get straight into it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go import Tkinter as TK. And you're going to want to do this in every program you want to make. So of course we import Tkinter, which we make our programs with. And we're giving it the alias of TK because TK is a whole lot less of a mouthful as Tkinter. So anyways, on the next line, we're going to import what's called the messagebox module from Tkinter, which we will use for displaying our messages. So we're going to write from Tkinter import messagebox. Now we're going to create the main window like that. Boom. And then go roots equals tk.tk brackets, just like in the last video. This is how we initialize the main window. Now on the very next line we go root.title brackets quotation marks, and we're going to call in login form, just like that, easy peasy. Right, so now we're going to go root.geometry brackets quotation marks, and we're going to go a nice 300 by 200, nice perfect size. Right, so we set up the main window, we gave it a label, and we set the dimensions. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a label and entry for our username. So to do that, we go username underscore label equals tk.label brackets root comma text equals quotation marks username and our two little dot friend. So what this is doing is we've created a label widget with the text username, and it's added to the window. It's just going to prompt the user to give in their username. So next thing we do, username underscore label once again, but this time we're going to pack or dot pack brackets patty equals 5, give it a nice padding of 5 pixels going vertically. Right, so next thing you want to do, we're going to username. This time it's going to be a tiny bit different. Underscore entry, just like that. And then we just go equals tk dot entry this time, brackets roots. And that's it, we're not adding the rest of this here. And then we go username underscore entry dot pack brackets patty equals 5. There we go. So we've now set up the username entry. So now we're going to do the exact same thing, but for the password. So we're just gonna give a note, create a label and entry for the password, like that, and we go password underscore label equals tk dot label brackets root comma text equals and just password and a little 2 dots. Of course, it's just prompting the user to enter their password. So next thing I'm going to do, just like before, we're going password underscore label dot pack brackets patty equals 5, just like so. Now on the next line, this was going to be different from what we did up here. So what we're going to do is you go password underscore entry, like so, equals tk dot entry brackets root comma, this time we're going to write show equals quotation marks, star. Right, so what this does is creating an entry widget for the password input, but when we type out password, it will hide the main characters with a star, so no one can see it. So now we're going to go password underscore entry dot pack brackets paddy equals 5. There we are. So we've now created the functions to import our username and password, but now we have to define a function to validate our login credentials. So we're going to write, we're going to make a note. Always write notes, it makes it look so much more professional and easy to read. So what we're going to write is we're going to do validate the login credentials. Boom. So we go def validate underscore login brackets, and that's your little dot fella. So now we go username equals username underscore entry dot get brackets. So this will get the entered username from our username entry up here. And now we're going to do the exact same thing, but for our lovely password. So password equals password underscore entry dot get brackets. There we are. So now, now we'll collect the username and password. So now we're going to go down 2 lines and we'll go if username equals, and now we're gonna, you want to set this to whatever the hell your username to be. So I'm just going to go with admin, and then on the next line, sorry, what am I saying? So now we go and password equals quotation marks password, and then outside our little 2 dots, quotation marks, sorry, 2 dots, there we go. So that's going to obviously check if the entered username and password match the predefined credentials, so which is the ones you enter up here. In our case, we're going to use admin and password. So now we go down to the next line and we're going to write messagebox dot show info brackets quotation marks login status. Now outside our quotation marks we go comma and then quotation marks login successful, just like that. So that would just display a success message if the credentials are correct. But now we need something for if it's incorrect. The user gets incorrect and they should not be using our program. Right, so we go else, 2 dots, and then, what am I doing? Message box dot show error, brackets, quotation marks, login status, comma, and now we're just going to write invalid username or password, just like that. So that will obviously display our error message if the credentials are not correct. So now we're going to create a login button, just the button you press when you want to log in, of course. So we're going to go login underscore button equals tk dot button, like so, brackets, root, comma, text equals quotation marks, login, comma, command equals validate login. And there we are, just like that. That's creating our button widget labeled login that calls the validate login function when clicked. Now on the next one just below it, we're just going to write login underscore button dot pack brackets paddy equals 20. So this of course will just give a padding with 20 vertical pixels. So now we want to run the main loop, which is obviously quite simple. Root dot main loop, and don't forget the brackets. So that will just start the Tkinter event loop, which will wait for our user interaction. Right, so now the program is complete. Make sure you save it. Just call it whatever. I've got login form, and where we can run it safely, just like this. And here we are. So username, of course, whatever you entered. So we're going with admin, and password is simply just password. And look at that, login successful. And if you were to get one of these wrong, say you forgot a letter and did amen, invalid username and password, and of course, send goes, well, the password. Right, so just a quick review of what we have done. We have created a simple login form. We'll get them up for you over here. Simple login form with labels and entries for the user and password. We also have our button right here, which validates a user input and will display a message based on the login was successful or not. Alright, that's it for today, guys. You now have a functional login form which will validate user input and displays the appropriate message. In the next video, we're going to be exploring slightly more advanced concepts like working with layouts and managing frames and a few more things. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing for more Python tutorials, and I shall see you next time.